Broadcasting from the great state of Texas. News and views with a Lone Star perspective. You can sound off during the show by sending Chad a text at 806-680-2790. That's 806-680-2790. Or call in at 1-800-687-0790. Now, here's Chad Hasty.
Good evening, Lubbock, Amarillo, Abilene, Wichita Falls, Midland, Odessa, Dallas, Fort Worth, down in Houston, over in El Paso, and anywhere else, inside or outside the great state of Texas, wherever you may be listening on this Thursday, January 8th of 2026. We welcome you into the Chad Hasty Show, whether you're stuck in traffic, you're at work, maybe you're heading home from work, maybe you're already at home, you're just chilling out right there listening to us. We appreciate you tuning in on this Thursday. We've got so much to talk about on the program today. We have Wesley Huck, who will join us coming up at 5:35. He's a candidate for Lubbock County Judge in the Republican primary here in Lubbock County. We'll visit with him at 5:35. Then coming up at 6:05, scheduled to visit with Sid Miller. He's the Texas Ag Commissioner. We'll visit with him about some Ag Commissioner-related activities. And we've got a lot of time for your phone calls, your text messages. You've heard from everybody else all day long. Now it's your chance, your opportunity to sound off on the issues that really matter. There's quite a few issues that matter on your Thursday evening. Taking a look at just some of the big headlines as we see them right now. That includes the continued fallout from the shooting in Minneapolis, the ICE shooting. J.D. Vance coming out earlier today and blasting the news media, as he should, as the news media has been very, very dishonest about this shooting. But they just like the leftist, the leftist politicians, the leftist news media, they want chaos. They want blood in the streets. They want this to be a flashpoint moment in America. You know, they want that whole Somali daycare center. They want that to go away. They want that to go away. They want that to disappear. They kind of want Tim Walz to disappear too. But they want the Somali thing to go away. They still hate ICE. They've always hated ICE. They've hated law enforcement. It's amazing. We're at a point in our nation, and you really have to look back and go, how exactly did we get here? How exactly did we get to the point where you have just regular citizens, normal, this lady who was shot and killed? She's a mom. She's a mom. She's a mother of three children. She's anti-ICE, anti-immigration customs enforcement. But she decides, instead of just sitting on the sidewalk and yelling, boo, boo, and holding a sign, she's going to block the street with her vehicle, which is not a death sentence, nor should it be. But then she decides, instead of getting out of her vehicle in order to by law enforcement, no, she's going to drive off. And she drives into a law enforcement. I know there's an article floating around that says that the officer was not in her way. That's amazing, because in one video he gets hit. So I don't know how he wasn't in her way when he fired the shot when he got hit. Is it sad that someone died? Yes. It never should have happened. Was it justified? I'm not a lawyer. But from everything I've seen, the answer is yes, it was justified. And if you're a rational, normal human being, just sit back and go, what are you doing? Why are you even putting yourself at risk? Why would you put yourself at risk of even being shot or even being arrested? Why would you do that? If you're a mother, if you're a father, is it really worth it to get influence on social media, to become a social media star? Is it really worth it to get in the face of ICE when all they're doing is their job? These are men and women who just want to go home. At the end of the day, they just want to go home too. They just want to go home to their wives. They want to go home to their husbands. They want to go home to their families. They're being told, you need to go and arrest these people. They are doing their jobs. Which, by the way, the vast majority of Americans agree with. But the left has been so twisted and turned upside down and inside out, and they've been told that ICE is going through and secretly removing American citizens, and they're kidnapping people and taking them off the street, and they're breaking up all these families, and they're going through and they're doing horrible, horrible things. And it's up to you to stop them. It's up to you. You need to stop. You need to put your vehicle, you need to put your body in the way. They never say, put your life on the line. They won't say that. But they convince these people you need to get in the way. You need to throw your vehicle in front of these cops. You need to block the streets. And you look back and you go, how did we get here? How did we get to this point where supposedly rational human beings go, yeah, I think that sounds like a good idea. Instead of solving it at the polls, instead of when you go and vote, you vote a certain way. Instead, we're gonna protest the actions of ICE. We're gonna throw ourselves in front of ICE officials. And by the way, if they would do it to ICE, they'll do it to your local police force. They'll do it to your sheriff's department. They'll do it to anybody who carries out the mission of law enforcement. Then does that mean that law enforcement just needs to open up fire on everyone who gets in the way? Obviously not. I see these people on the news who go, well, you're just, since you're law enforcement, you just want people to be shot. No, nobody wants that. And J.D. Vance earlier today, he said that this woman was brainwashed. And I think she was brainwashed. Just like we've seen from so many on the radical left, who they get brainwashed and they think they're the one they're gonna do something. I read a report she wasn't even from Minneapolis. She traveled in. Why? Just leave it alone, especially if you're a parent. What is your problem? Just stay home. Be a keyboard warrior. That's the best the left can do. Just be a keyboard warrior. That's what you've been taught to do anyway, is to be the best keyboard warriors you can be. So, of course, we have the continued fallout from that. There's also the Senate passing a resolution blocking Trump on using the military in Greenland. We can get into that today. Also, the House getting closer to pretty much not having another government shutdown, which I didn't think they would. So we'll be talking about that a little bit later on. There's a story that if we have time, we'll get to it. We may have to hold it over to tomorrow just because we have so many guests today and a lot of other things to get into. A story out of the Dallas Morning News where they follow a transgendered individual who is pregnant And the story is trans and pregnant in Texas, a state that hates transgendered people. Yes, we will we'll get to that. It's just so outrageous. And again, it goes back to about if you put yourself back 15 years ago and you read this story, your head would explode. Your head would absolutely explode. Kids in school would have questions. And it's just absolutely asinine. So we've got all of that to get to throughout the program today. Wes Huck coming up at 5:35. Your phone calls, your text. When we come back, we'll get into some of the news of the day, your text messages, your phone calls, and much more on the Chad Hasty Show.
The Chad Hasty Show can be heard all over West Texas. Weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m. Tune into News Talk 95.1 and 790 KFYO in Lubbock. News Talk 940 in Amarillo. News Talk 94.7 and 1470 KYYW in Abilene. And in Wichita Falls on News Talk 96.3 and 1290. The Chad Hasty Show. Make it a part of your drive home. Weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m.
Pedal to the metal. Greased lightning. Burn rubber. Make tracks. Full gas. Whatever you call it, it's speeding. And a heavy foot can cost you a heavy fine. Or more. Speeding is a factor in more than 150,000 crashes every year in Texas, many of them fatal. Slow down, be safe, drive smart, and take it easy. A message from the Texas Department of Transportation.
Tune in to Shooter on the Law with Lubbock lawyer Cole Shooter every Saturday morning from 10 to 11 on KFYO. Have questions about future estate planning that benefits the entire family? How about the ongoing struggle with scammers dealing with cryptocurrency? Find the answers to all your legal questions from a licensed attorney in the state of Texas with Cole Shooter and Shooter on the Law, Saturday mornings at 10 on News Talk 95.1 and 790 KFYO.
Back on the Chad Hasty Show. Thank you very much for tuning in today. Hey, don't forget, those of you in the Lubbock area, go by and see my friends at Eden's Furniture, 1415 19th Street, where right now they've got a great deal for our listeners only. For $199, you can get this really great deluxe swivel glider recliner. It's absolutely fantastic. You won't want to miss this deal. Okay, I mean this is a deal that's going to save you it's going to save you a ton of money. But it's this deluxe swivel glider recliner in suede material for just $199 for our listeners while supplies last. 1415 19th Street. You're going to save a ton of money. And since you're going to save a ton of money, you might as well go ahead and maybe pick up another one or maybe see what other furniture they have. At Eden's Furniture, 1415 19th Street, to where my wife and I have gotten our furniture from. They're fantastic people. Judson will take good care of you each and every time you walk in. All right, let's see here. We have Wes Huck coming in at 5:35. How about this? Text coming in here. Hi, this is Rachel from Slayton. I am a supporter of ICE, and I do think they should be able to do their jobs and not be interfered with. However, the video I have seen from the ICE agent shooting at a civilian looks pretty bad. I can't tell from what I've seen if it was really justified. I mean, if he had just stepped back and shot out her tires or something, it hadn't looked like it was high speed. Trying to run him over trying to run him over thing, but I just have one angle, so I could be wrong. I just don't think it looked like it was a justified shooting. I'm sorry, but I think he overreacted. There's a couple of angles. One, you have I think the big one that's been shown where it looks like he could have just moved out of the way. Then there's another angle where it shows the front of the vehicle, and you actually see him getting hit. So you have both of those. But let me address because I've seen this a lot. Why didn't he just shoot out the tires? I think this idea of police shooting out tires goes back to Hollywood. There are a number of police agencies that, one, will tell you don't shoot out tires because it can be difficult. Now, again, he was right there. The likelihood that he could have hit it is high. You've got a split-second decision. This is a guy who has also been hit before. The vice president mentioned that earlier today, is that I think it was a few months ago, the guy had been hit by another vehicle and dragged under that vehicle. So what do you think's going through his mind when another car is coming at him? Oh, here we go again. There is a safety risk at trying to aim at tires. You could hit the rim. You could have a bullet ricochet. You could have it not puncture. There's a lot of things that could happen if you don't hit the tire the right way. And that's why a lot of police forces, unless they just have to take out the tires and have to shoot out the tires, they won't do it. You see a lot of high-speed chases where, eventually they have to throw the spikes out there. But you don't see a lot of times where the officer just pulls up alongside the car and shoots out the tires. And there's reasons for that. Ricocheting is one of them. A missed shot or a ricochet can kill an officer, can kill an innocent bystander. That's why police are not taught, aim for the arm. Aim for the leg, aim for the arm. No, they're taught center mass. Stop the threat. When you go through any type of handgun training, any type of tactical training that's out there, they're not teaching you how to wing somebody. They're not teaching you how to hit them on the foot or hit them in the arm or hit them in the leg. It's center mass. And when you're aiming for the windshield of a vehicle to stop somebody, yeah, you're aiming for center mass, and you're aiming for that vehicle because the bullet's going to be stopped. Again, it's not one of those where it's just easy to in a split second. Well, let me dive down and start shooting out the tires. Again, if she was willing to try and hit him, which is what he was thinking. What happens if he would have? What would have happened if she ran over him, and then after that decided, I'm going to run over some other ICE officers who are up ahead of me? And I know that's sitting here and saying a bunch of what ifs. But it's something that for a police officer, you have to think like that. You can't just sit here and go, well, let me jump out of the way. And as I'm in midair, I can aim and shoot out the tires, and everyone else can shoot out the tires. Meanwhile, you have officers who are all around the vehicle. What if I hit one of them in the foot? Probably won't happen, but you never know. It's a split-second decision, and that what's sad about it is it didn't have to happen. She didn't have to do that. Let's see. If you watch the Legacy Media clip of the shooting, of course, you would think that it was not a good shot. There are so many better angles. Let's see. Why question law enforcement? I have no problem questioning law enforcement, by the way. You should question law enforcement. I'm not going to just take their word for it. I'm not looking at this and going, yeah, ICE is always going to do something that's smart and the right thing. No. I'm not saying don't question law enforcement. You should question law enforcement. And yes, you should be able to record law enforcement, including federal officials. Absolutely. You should be able to do that. I know there's some debate about that today. I'm just giving you my opinion from what I have seen. From what I have seen, I would say, again, until I've seen a different angle that convinces me otherwise, I would say it's justifiable. I hate that it happened. But I would say it was justifiable. We'll get back to more of your text messages in the next hour. We've got Wesley Huck scheduled to join us. I think he's here. Candidate for Lubbock County Judge in the Republican primary. We'll visit with him when he gets here in the studio. And when we come back from the next break, here on the Chad Hasty Show.
The Chad Hasty Show, weekdays 5 to 7 p.m. Sound off during the show by sending Chad a text at 806-680-2790.
How serious is youth vaping? Irreversible lung damage serious. 1 in 10 kids vape serious, which warrants a serious conversation from a serious parental figure like yourself. Not the seriously know-it-all sports dad or the seriously smart podcaster. It requires a serious conversation that is best had by you. No. Seriously, the best person to talk to your child about vaping is you. To start the conversation, visit talkaboutvaping.org. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Ad Council.
Heads up, Texas.
So you don't hit my car when I'm sitting at a stoplight.
Heads up, Texas.
So I can ride my bike safely.
Heads up, Texas.
So I can make it across the street without getting run over.
Heads up, Texas.
So I don't have to write you a ticket.
Heads up, Texas, because driving and using your phone is a bad combination. Talk, text, crash. Brought to you by TxDOT.
TSN headlines, more revealing testimony in court today from Robb Elementary school teachers inside classrooms the day of the deadliest school shooting in Texas history. Uvalde CISD police officer Adrian Gonzalez accused of criminal negligence for his slow response. A fourth grade teacher said she was hit by flying debris and tried to shield her students as they were hiding under a counter. ICE in the spotlight following the killing of a woman in Minneapolis. Acting ICE director in Dallas, Robert Sarna, says officers wear masks for their own protection. And there will be protests in several cities in Texas after the shooting of a woman by an ICE agent in Minneapolis. Demonstration against ICE at Dallas City Hall tonight. A protest in Houston and 2 protests in the Austin area. One of them scheduled for a neighborhood in central Austin. The other outside an ICE facility in Pflugerville. Statewide average for a gallon of gasoline is $2.42. And in the NBA tonight, the Dallas Mavericks play at the Utah Jazz. With your Texas News headlines, I'm Barbara Schwartz.
Imagine there was more of you. A you working on custom retirement plans, while another you preps for open enrollment. When you partner with Paychex, we become an extension of your team. From AI-powered intelligent HCM to HR advisory and employee solutions, we give you more of you. New customers book a meeting with Paychex and get a $50 gift card. Visit paychex.com/you.
Carsforkids.org. Right off the car, not the kid.
Got an old or unused vehicle you need to get rid of? Donate it to the original Carsforkids.org. Towing is free, and you'll be helping kids in our communities. Carsforkids.org is the best vehicle donation charity impacting the lives of kids thanks to your vehicle donations. Carsforkids.org picks up vehicles in any condition, and you'll receive a $50 gift card. Don't delay. Donate today.
Financial news on KFYO.
I'm Dan Loney with your Money Now. Stocks were mixed once again today. The Dow Industrials picked up 270 points, ending the session at 49,266. The Nasdaq lost 104 points. The S&P 500 added a point. General Motors will record $7.1 billion in special charges during the fourth quarter of 2025. It's tied to its pullback in EVs and restructuring efforts in China. The charges will impact the automaker's net income, but not adjusted results. Q4 earnings for GM will be announced on January the 27th. According to mortgage lender Freddie Mac, the average 30-year fixed rate ticked higher last week. It rose from 6.15 to 6.16%. A year ago, that rate was 6.93%. And the December jobs report comes out on Friday. The expectations are that the economy added 73,000 jobs in the month, with the unemployment rate dipping to 4.5%. The jobs report is out at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time tomorrow. That's your Money Now.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You sort through tons of resumes and you get too many so-so applicants. You're just waiting for someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now there's a place where you can meet them fast. ZipRecruiter.
Need to hire right away. Start your search for strong candidates. The right fit awaits. Build your team. Build it sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try it for free. And you're on your way to meeting your match. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. So try it now. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
The news and talk of West Texas. News Talk 95.1 and 790 KFYO.
It's the Chad Hasty Show.
All right, welcome back to the Chad Hasty Show. Appreciate you being out there today. As we continue to visit with the candidates, we visited with many this week. We'll visit with many next week. And as we continue into primary season, we'll visit with candidates. We'll get back to your text messages and everything else going on in Minnesota. We'll get back to that coming up in the next hour of the program. Joining us in the studio right now, candidate running in the Republican primary for Lubbock County Judge. We have Wes. Help me out with the last name.
Hauk.
Hauk.
Yeah.
That's right. I've been saying it wrong.
Like house and about.
Hauk.
Yes.
Joining us in the studio today. Welcome back, or welcome to the show. Good to see you again. How are things going?
They're going great. We the whole Hauk family got the Christmas bug.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so we're all finally clearing the pipes and getting back to our health. The campaign so far is going really good.
Yeah.
Getting some momentum going there. Finally got our signs and all that. So
it's good.
Yeah.
So what made you decide to jump into this? First, tell people a little bit about yourself, your background,
sure.
And why you decided to run.
Who is Wes Hauk?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So long story short, born in East Texas, grew up in Oregon when my folks divorced when I was very young, like 3, so I don't remember it. But grew up in Oregon where my mom's family was. And Oregon in the 80s and 90s, awesome. I surfed, I snowboard, hiked, mountain biked, all that stuff. Had a great time.
Yeah.
And then as time went on, Oregon changed a lot.
Yeah.
Like a lot. And it's unrecognizable. I keep saying it's a dysfunctional society.
Right.
And there's no other way to describe it. So all that to say, 2020 election rolls around. And Oregon basically legalizes all drugs. So we're talking, crack, heroin, meth,
right.
all of it.
Yeah.
And that was I've been kind of poking at my wife for a while, like, come on, let's get out of here. This is nuts. Yeah. And so that was the last straw for her. And she's like, you know what? I don't want my boys thinking this is normal. Like, let's get out of here. So I spent 7 months looking for a place to go, a refuge, basically. And I searched everywhere and finally came across a YouTube video about Lubbock. Never had heard about it in my life. And I wanted to get back to Texas. My wife wasn't a fan of East Texas because, the hair, the humidity doesn't do well.
I hear you. Okay.
We got to think about these things, right?
Yeah.
And so I was looking all over West Texas and found it, looked at the demographics, flew in, visited, and the people, man, it just sealed the deal for me.
Yeah, well, that's great. That's fantastic. You are you on you're a member of the city council, correct? In Wolfforth?
Wolfforth City Council, seat 2.
Yeah.
And been on there for about 2 years now. And that was kind of one of the things moving here was I felt like Oregon had kind of terraformed from a lot of California moving north. Mm-hmm. And you had a lot of people that were good people, very conservative people, but they were just busy doing their thing, work, family, that's about it, right? Yeah. And in that, just being a little checked out on politics, all the people that were coming up, retirees, had all the time in the world. Yeah. And so they got on every committee, school board, council, and so on. And I saw what happened. So when I moved here, I was like, I am not going to be that passive citizen anymore. It was just a big conviction. So I ran for city council and won by a huge margin of 2 votes. And
a win is a win.
Yeah, I just say that's God keeping me humble, and I appreciate that. And learned a lot. And learned that Wolfforth is in good hands. It's really run well. It's a good city. And that's when my eyes started to shift over to what's going on with the county.
Okay, so what is it about Lubbock County that made you go, yeah, I need to run for judge? I need to. What was kind of that? Was there a breaking point? Was there something that kind of made you go, yeah, I need to run?
There was eventually a breaking point, but it was a slow bake at first. One of the council members would come to our city council meetings, and I was impressed by that. I thought it was a good gesture, so I was like, I'm going to return the favor. I want to start going to the court. So I started going to the court. I've been doing that for about 1.5 years now, and boy, the contrast couldn't be different. This is pretty different climate, professionalism, and the whole vibe. Everything's very different. Where our court might be a little more, or our council might be more laid back, and the court's a little more formal. The decorum and the unity was very different. Mm-hmm. And that stood out right away, kind of like what's going on here. And then as time goes on, you just start seeing more and more and more. And it really kind of came down to this primary, as candidates are filing. I thought it was going to go one way, and then all of a sudden, Jody Arrington says, I'm out. Yeah. And that really turned a lot of attention. And I kind of was really worried that this judge wasn't, this situation wasn't getting looked at. And so after a lot of prayer, a lot of thinking, a lot of asking around like anyone else doing this, I decided, okay, here's my, here's a need, I'll meet it.
Yeah. I'm sure your opponent would say, hey, you know what? We're both Republicans. We're both, I'm sure he'll say, I'm conservative too. That's what you have in Republican primaries in Texas. Everyone's going to try to out-conservative the other.
Yes.
I know you say you're a conservative Republican. What's the difference between your policies and his policies?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. And the difference in who we are, I think, is pretty stark. But you would really see it in the fruit. And I'm not saying he's a sinner or anything like that. I'm not going down that road. What I'm going is you'll see in his marketing and his ads that he feels that he acknowledges the judge is kind of both this executive role as well as the judicial role. Mm-hmm. But he does highlight that he feels it's 70% judicial, and that just sort of leaves this question mark. I guess 30% gets to go to the county. Yeah. And that didn't sit well with me, and that's kind of falls in line with what I was seeing on the court, where it felt like the county business side of things, the management, the oversight of budget, just meeting with your commissioners, getting things figured out before you get to the dais instead of airing dirty laundry in the public, things like that was not signs of a good executive. So it fit in line. So with me, I know that position is a 50-50. You're asked to do two very tough jobs, run a judicial, but you got to run a county. You have to do both. And I know some places have split that, probably for good reason. But right now, you're asked to do both and to give 50-50, equal attention. And so I think that's something you would see be a big difference. And then also the communication style, the unity. I'm more of a peacemaker. I'm more of a, hey, let's look for win-wins instead of blaming. Let's look at solutions. Things like that. So I would be coming at it a very different energy.
What's your philosophy? And we'll get to this, then we'll take the break, and we'll come back. But what is your overall philosophy when it comes to taxes?
Yeah, so taxes are the absolute last nuclear option. You shouldn't be raising taxes if you don't know your budget well. You shouldn't be raising taxes if the fundamentals aren't being taken care of and you're chasing pet projects. That's gross mismanagement, I think, of public funds. For me, it's about getting your business in order, tightening that ship, getting everything, just like a home budget. Once you you get rid of all the magazine subscriptions and the whatever else. I mean, do people even get magazines anymore? But, you clean up your budget, you look at your numbers, and then you're like, man, we're still not cutting it. We got to go deliver pizzas. Same with taxes. It should be the very last option. And you should be able to present that to the public in a very transparent way. And I think you should have them vote on it.
Yeah. All right. Let's go ahead and take the first break. When we come back, we'll continue our conversation here on the Chad Hasty Show.
The Titan of Texas Talk Radio. The Chad Hasty Show.
Talking with newsmakers and about the issues that matter to you. The Chad Hasty Show, weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m. Chad's show is also digital with the Chad Hasty Show podcast. The Chad Hasty Show podcast can be downloaded on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, and the Radio On Demand page on KFYO.com. The Chad Hasty Show, all across Texas during your drive home, weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m.
Out here in the middle of all these acres, it can feel like you're the only person on Earth. And sometimes, that's how it feels when you're going through tough times. Trouble sleeping, your mind racing. So what do? We get help. There are people in our community who are here for us. Sometimes, just talking to someone can make all the difference in the world. Find more information at loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
Fox on Tech. You keeping up with your health tech? You have a lot of stuff at your disposal these days, not just to monitor your health as you go, but keep track of it. Smartphones and wearables like watches and rings have the ability to not just read your health data from heart rates to pulse ox and sleep patterns, but these health tech innovators at the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas want to use that tech to do even more for you with the data it gathers.
Wouldn't it be nice if there was some kind of technology that could provide, human comprehensible information about health that sounded like you were having a conversation with a doctor? Wow, that would be amazing if that existed. Yep. Which, of course, it does.
Tom Hale is CEO of Aura Ring. He says health data for the patient in real time can push the patient to make better health choices instead of waiting to see the doctor once or twice a year. With Fox on Tech, I'm Eben Brown, Fox News.
As you get ready in the morning and as you drive home from work, stay informed with the latest news from lawmakers across Texas and the rest of the country with Fox News. Every day, right here on News Talk KFYO.
All right, welcome back. Chad Hasty Show. Visiting with Wes Hawk in the studio as he is running for Lubbock County Judge in the Republican primary. We were talking about taxes, and I guess I need to ask you also, since I have you here, let's say you would have been, let's say you're already Lubbock County judge.
Okay.
How would you have handled the Jason Corley election announcement versus non-election announcement? Do you believe the judge went too far?
I think a court decided that he went too far. Nothing about that really set well with me.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of that should have been some discussion behind the scene.
Yeah.
I think there should have been more seeking out legal counsel before making such a drastic. I mean, removing an elected official.
Yeah.
That's huge. That's a big deal.
Well, the judge is now being quoted as saying that, he really didn't do anything.
I saw that on, I think, 2 different occasions. I saw in written form and I heard.
Yeah, Lubbock Lights was reporting that in an interview. He said he really didn't do anything. Well, it wasn't him. It was he was just
It was
there.
the Constitution.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think I saw Lampoon's comic on that.
Do you buy that?
I don't, especially I sat through the case or the court and kind of listened to both sides. Corley and Parrish were on the stand, and the questioning as the question carried on and got further and further and deeper, it sounded very. I'll put it this way: the intellectual side of the argument started to crumble more and more, and I don't know how else to put it other than it felt like all that was left was emotion.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to say it. I'm not trying to be, a mean person, but that's what I was left with. It was a very emotional argument.
If you were to win this primary and win the election and become judge, what do you think the most important thing for you is going to be as far as first steps go? Is it establishing leadership? Is it trying to unite people? What's the most important thing?
Yes. It's going to be a little bit of all that. I feel like there's some fundamentals that just need to get reestablished. I get a sense of a lot of distrust, a lot of eggshells.
Yeah.
The communication lines don't seem great. Camaraderie, I don't even know if that exists, all those things. And so, the first kind of heavy lift is just going to be culture repair, getting the culture. Any business I've ever owned before, I mean, if you got a toxic culture, you're not producing much effort or product, whatever it is, results aren't happening. And so that's going to be a big piece of it initially. It's just kind of getting some unity, getting that established. And then the next one is really just kind of bringing that balance of that 50-50, let's get attention equally on both hats that have to be worn there.
Right. I had brought up taxes earlier and just visiting with elected officials already and those who are running. There seems to be some concern that, citizens have wanted the low tax rate.
Sure.
But we're getting to the point where there have been a lot of cuts made and there may be things that we're putting off as far as, funding, that at some point either a bond election may have to happen or taxes. Do you worry that we're getting close to that point and, whether it's you or the next whoever else is on the commissioner's court, that y'all might be, handed, a court in a county moving forward that has a lot of catching up to do?
That's definitely been a thought. When it's good to get your budgets tight, it's good to get them clean. We did that at Wolfforth. We spent a lot of time just kind of revamping our budgets. We worked with our police, our EMS, and our fire, saying, hey, we want to help you. We want to get your goodies, and not goodies in a lighthearted way. These were needed tools.
Yeah.
But we had stuff that we could eke by. It's not a deal, but it works.
Yeah.
We did that. We got everyone on board, but it was a big communicative effort. Everyone bought in, and we're able to get through that and reassess where we're at. I think the county, I don't know if that's happening. I don't know if we have a good 3, 5, 7 year kind of layout of plans and ambitions and goals and a good set of, where do we need to be fiscally in 4 years? I don't know if we have those answers right now. So I'm nervous that it could be a situation where that could happen, and it's going to look horrible.
Yeah.
It'll look horrible. And so for me, there's a lot of other avenues that could be explored because, again, taxes are the nuclear option. They're the last thing you want to do. You got your tightening of budgets. You got grants you can chase. We got other revenue streams we could start working on. Are we being business friendly enough? Are we getting enough businesses popping up so we can really harvest those sales tax? Things like that. And then we got these Tesla dollars coming in. Now that we're doing the Tesla titles. And I fear that, we may have, $14 million coming into potentially bad habits.
Yeah.
That concerns me.
Let's see, we have about a minute left. Thoughts on the Expo Center?
I just answered this question yesterday, and to me, I think the citizens are at the point of just get something done. I don't know if they care one way or the other than let's just land this bird or turn it off.
Yeah.
What are we doing here?
Do you think it needs to go downtown or stay on the North Loop?
I think you can make a case for either. At the end, I think sticking with the original plan's probably the wiser.
Yeah.
You have more room to grow. You could take in a lot of different directions, and you're creating two different financial hubs.
Yeah. Tell folks how they can get more information about your campaign.
Absolutely. We're all over the socials. You can find us there. It's Wesley for LBK. And go on there. You can get signs. You can donate and all that.
All right. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
We'll be right back on the Chad Hasty Show with Sid Miller.
The Chad Hasty Show, a presentation of Texas Town Square Media Network. The views and opinions expressed during the Chad Hasty Show are not necessarily the views of this station's staff, management, advertisers, or Town Square Media.
Bill Cunningham here, the Great American, every Sunday night with guest commentaries, phone calls, and more. We expose political obfuscation, ridiculous immigration policies, and absurd government spending that causes more problems than it solves. The Great American experiment continues as we fight like warrior poets for the soul of this great country of ours. Be part of this action every Sunday night with the Great American, Bill Cunningham.
Bill Cunningham, Sunday nights at 9 on News Talk KFYO.
The Tunnel to Towers Foundation honors America's heroes and their families when tragedy strikes, heroes like Scott Abrams. Now, for more than 3 decades, Scott served his community and country as a United States Marine, a New York City police detective, and volunteer firefighter. While he was on his NYPD motorcycle escorting a funeral procession of a 4-year-old child, his life changed in an instant. Scott was hit by a bus, crushing 4 vertebrae in his neck, shattering his leg, and leaving him partially paralyzed. And because of your generosity, Tunnel to Towers was able to honor Scott and his family with a mortgage-free smart home. It's only because of people like you. Scott now has a home that he can move freely in. Now more and more heroes are waiting. They are in need of assistance. Please join us supporting the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. If you can donate $11 a month, go to their website, the letter T, the number 2, the letter T.org. The letter T, the number 2, the letter T.org for the Tunnel to Towers Foundation.
From the heart of the hub city to the wide open skies of West Texas, KFYO keeps you connected to the stories, the voices, and the conversations that matter most. This is the news and talk of West Texas. News Talk 95.1 FM and 790 AM KFYO.
Nationwide news with a Texas twist. News Talk 95.1 FM and 790 AM KFYO Lubbock.
It's 6 o'clock in Texas.
Demonstrations in Minneapolis. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. Governor Tim Walz has authorized the staging of the National Guard as protests there grow.
Hundreds of people taking to the streets across the city a day after an ICE agent shot and killed 37-year-old Renee Good after federal officials allege she attempted to use her SUV as a deadly weapon. The FBI now handling the investigation into the incident alone, after state officials claim they were pushed out and denied access to case materials and evidence from the scene. Federal officials say the FBI has jurisdiction since they believe this was an attack on a federal law enforcement officer who they say was fully justified in what he did.
Fox's Garrett Tenney in Minneapolis. Governor Walz says the state must be a part of the investigation. Portland, Oregon police say 2 people are hospitalized following a shooting involving federal agents this afternoon. Their conditions are not known. The House passing a measure that would extend Obamacare subsidies for another 3 years, but it's not a done deal.
The bill passed 230 to 196. 17 Republicans joined all Democrats in voting yes. However, the House bill can't overcome a Senate filibuster. Senators are crafting a bipartisan compromise to wind down Obamacare aid and impose reform.
Fox's Chad Pergram in Washington. President Trump directing the federal government to buy $200 million in mortgage bonds to help bring down the cost of home ownership.
The purchase, the president says, will drive mortgage rates down, monthly payments down, and make the cost of owning a home more affordable. It is the second housing-focused announcement from the president in as many days. Wednesday, he called for Congress to ban large institutional investors from buying single-family homes. Both actions come as affordability and the cost of living emerge as a top concern for voters ahead of November's midterm elections.
Fox's Jared Halpern. America's listening to Fox News.
Local events, newsmakers, and information. It's Sunrise LBK on KFYO.
Friday morning on Sunrise LBK.
Hey, happy Friday. Brian Hyatt will be the Raiderland.com representative calling in, and he'll tell us about the NFL games coming up this weekend and the college playoff games.
Hey, also, we got some recreational stuff going on around Hub City, and you know what? I feel it coming on. Another prize bomb.
Ooh.
Yeah, make sure you're listening. Sunrise LBK, Tom Collins, Matt Curl, and KFYO in the morning.
It's Chad Hasty. Tune in to the czar of talk radio, The Michael Berry Show, weeknights at 10 p.m. on KFYO.
South Plains weather forecast, maybe a few sprinkles over the South Plains the last 24 hours, but 68-degree temperatures today will drop overnight in the upper 30s, and tomorrow's Friday, high temperatures in the middle 50s with a southwest to northwest wind, so we'll have 26 degrees by Saturday morning. Weather is brought to you by Sonic 199 Menu. I'm meteorologist Ron Albert to Lubbock's official weather station News Talk KFYO.
Broadcasting from the great state of Texas, news and views with a Lone Star perspective. You can sound off during the show by sending Chad a text at 806-680-2790. That's 806-680-2790. Or call in at 1-800-687-0790. Now, here's Chad Hasty.
All right, back on the Chad Hasty Show. Thank you very much for tuning in today. Thanks again to Wes Hawk for joining us. You can go back and listen to that interview on the podcast. Apple Podcast, Spotify, wherever else. Lots of text messages that have come in. We'll get to those. But before we do that, Texas Ag Commissioner Sid Miller joins us here on the Chad HD Show. Commissioner Miller, how are you this evening?
Well, I'm just dandy. Thank you, Chad, for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always good to hear from you and visit with you here on the show. There's quite a bit that we could get into, and I guess one of the first things that we should talk about is this new world screwworm that we keep hearing about, threatening Texas agriculture and everything else. Where are we there? What's going on? What's the latest?
Well, we're in the worst shape we've been through this whole year-long ordeal. We've had them bottled up in southern Mexico, but we've got some flies now we've discovered within 200 miles of the border down in the state of Tamaulipas. So we're having to drop sterile flies there, and that's a jump of about 700 miles. So it is concerning.
For those who may not be paying attention to what would happen if those get into Texas? What would happen to the beef industry and even people's pets?
Well, we've got some tools now that we didn't have in the 1960s and 70s to better technology. We got some anti-parasitic drugs like ivermectin, Dectomax, which will give 3 to 4 weeks control and preventative medicine. We can do that. We have some special drugs approved by the FDA for pets that we now have available. But it threatens a $30 billion livestock industry, and that's not even taking into consideration wildlife.
Yeah.
We have about 5 million head of deer in the state, and they're a little hard to rope and doctor, unlike cattle. So we did get approved to add ivermectin to wildlife feed. So we've got about 1 million of those deer under high fence that get fed. So we think we can, be okay with those. And some of the low fence deer get fed corn. So that's about the only way we can treat those animals.
Okay. Speaking of when it comes to cattle and beef production, prices, imports, I know it's something that is something that's very important here in Texas. Obviously, a lot of the beef producers out there are hoping that things get a little bit better in the industry. Where are we when it comes to beef prices and everything else that's happening?
Well, the one bright spot in agriculture is beef prices, especially for your cow-calf producer. It's not so bright if you're a stocker operator or feedlot operator. Those guys are not doing so well. So our feedlots are about 60 to 80% capacity, so they only make money if their operations are full of cattle. We've had one packing plant shut down in the state of Texas simply because there wasn't enough cattle to run through. But if you're a cow-calf producer, you're receiving record prices. That relates to the consumer. The consumer is still buying beef. They haven't determined that it's gotten too high for them to purchase. Hamburgers around $6 a pound. It's come down a little bit. That means, a hamburger patty is about $1.25, $1.50. So people are still buying it. If it gets too high, though, they'll go to other sources of protein, and then it's hard to win those people back once you lose them.
Yeah. Another big reason I wanted to have you on. I'm glad that you were able to visit with us today. Even though I know plans changed, we were going to have you in studio. But did you get summoned to D.C.? Is that what happens? Did they summon you to Washington?
I was on my way to Lubbock yesterday, and then I was contacted by RFK Jr.'s, actually his staff, not him, and requesting my presence here today. They were rolling out their new food pyramid. And since I'm a big part of that, then I feed, oversee 5 million school meals each day and run all the nutrition programs for the state. And Bobby Kennedy has tagged us as the shining star and example for the rest of the nation. He wants to emulate what we're doing here in Texas and our Farm Fresh program across the nation. So I'm here. Matter of fact, I'm having dinner with him. I had to step out. I'm having dinner with him tonight. And but they're very gracious to let me slip out so I can be on your show.
Well, that's great. Well, tell them that we said hello and to keep up the great work. Okay, tell them to keep it up. Before we let you go, these AI data centers. I know that that you're looking at trying to strike a balance between data centers and protection of rural areas. How do we strike that balance, in your opinion?
Well, we don't have any balance right now. There's no guardrails, there's no oversight, there's no organization, no direction. It's just kind of willy-nilly. They go anywhere and everywhere. And the problem I have with it is taking up some of our best farmland, just like the solar farms have done. Now, the solar farms are kind of done. There's no more subsidies on those, so they're not going to be near as prolific as they were, but we're in an AI battle with China. So we've got nearly 400 of these data centers, and they're really taxing our grid, causing our electric rates to go up, and they're taxing our water supply. So I'm coming out. I haven't actually released it yet, but in the next 10 days to 2 weeks, a plan, kind of pattern after opportunity zones. Those are zones the government set up to encourage development in underdeveloped areas. And if you do that, you get tax deferral, tax breaks. So I'm proposing to come up with agriculture freedom zones to kind of mirror that program. And that way, if you won't build out on the, best cotton land around Lubbock, if you get up on top of a plateau somewhere that's just nothing but rock and build it, we'll give you some tax incentives, some, deferred capital gains or some other, tax incentives so we can have some kind of direction. It won't infringe private property rights. If you still want to, build one on your land, you can, but it just is encouraging it to build on land that's not so, that's not valuable farmland. And I think we need those guardrails.
Should people be concerned about the water usage of these AI data centers?
Well, certainly. They use a lot of water to for cooling and electricity. There's a new technology coming on called SMRs, which are small modular nuclear reactors, and they could actually produce enough electricity for themselves and actually put some back on the grid. Now, they also have to be cooled, but they can be cooled with hydrogen or liquid salt. They don't have to have groundwater. But we do have another source of water that's just on the horizon, and that's deep earth water. We have the ability now to find that where it seeks its way to the top because it's under pressure, but we can tap into that, and we'll have a whole new source of water. It will change the way West Texas looks. We'll now have plenty of water for our crops, which is going to be absolutely outstanding.
All right. Well, that sounds great. Commissioner Sid Miller, hey, we're going to let you get back to dinner and make America healthy again. Tell everybody that we said hello and keep up the great work.
Well, thanks for what y'all do out there in Lubbock. I'll try to get back out there. I had to cancel a lot of events I had planned, but I love the people in Lubbock. They're good people. I want to, get back out there as soon as I can. Of course, we have an office there in town. People don't realize, but we have a presence, about 120 or 30 employees out there. So we're right in your backyard.
Yep.
Thank you, Chad.
Thank you. That's Texas Ag Commissioner Sid Miller. Good to hear from him today. We'll take the break. When we come back, your phone calls, your text, and more.
The Chad Hasty Show can be heard all over West Texas. Weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m. Tune into News Talk 95.1 and 790 KFYO in Lubbock. News Talk 940 in Amarillo. News Talk 94.7 and 1470 KYYW in Abilene. And in Wichita Falls on News Talk 96.3 and 1290. The Chad Hasty Show. Make it a part of your drive home. Weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m.
Cats are masters at using up their 9 lives, like chasing laser pointers into walls or jumping onto high shelves. But the one thing cats never do, text while driving. So be like a cat and protect your one and only life. Don't text and drive.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Here's a news flash for you. Car buying can suck. This is the Car Pro Jerry Reynolds. I've spent over 20 years referring car buyers to my friends in the car business, so you could avoid that sucky part. Go to carpro.com to connect with my friends today. I mean, who couldn't use a friend in the car business? And the best part is, it is absolutely free. Remember, it starts at carpro.com.
Carpro.com.
I'm Gianna Gelosi with your Fox True Crime Minute. The socialite convicted of helping her boyfriend cover up the murder of a Connecticut mother of 5 appeared in court this week in a bid to be released from prison. Michelle Troconis was sentenced to 20 years behind bars in 2024 after she was convicted of helping Fotis Doulos plot his wife Jennifer's May 2019 killing and then helping him hide the crime after the fact. Jennifer's body was never found. Troconis' team had argued that her case should be tossed on the grounds that she got bad legal advice from her former lawyer, who allowed Troconis to talk with police multiple times in 2019. Those statements to investigators were then used against her in trial. Troconis' new team also claimed she wasn't informed about the fact that her former lawyer also spoke with the prosecutor. The judge will have 120 days to issue a decision on Troconis' petition to be freed. If he sides with her, her case would be overturned and prosecutors would decide whether to put her on trial again. There's more on the story at foxnews.com or subscribe to the Fox True Crime Podcast. I'm Gianna Gelosi with your Fox True Crime Minute.
Wake up with local news, weather, and your opinions. Sunrise LBK, weekday mornings from 6 to 8:30. News Talk, 95.1 and 790. KFYO.
welcome back to the Chad AC Show. Appreciate you being out there. Some text messages that have that came in the last hour. Let's see, folks reacting to. We had a texture. It was like, well, why didn't the texture just didn't feel comfortable with the angle that she saw of the woman who was shot and didn't feel comfortable with it. Said, well, why not just take out the tires or something like that. Again, I think if you go back and look at other angles, and it may make you feel differently, possibly. Jim on the west side of Lubbock, I'm texting him, says the first video by the agitator girlfriend looked bad until I saw the shot came from the front. Then I noticed there was an agent in front of the driver trying to run him over. 2025 New Year's in New Orleans, 2 a.m., a terrorist ran over Minnie intentionally and killed Minnie. If the Minneapolis would have run over one, she would run over Minnie. That from Jim on the west side of Lubbock. Rachel, weighed back in with it. Didn't appear though she was going that fast. If the officer is that punchy because of what happened, maybe he shouldn't be out in the field. I'm sorry, it wasn't like a high-speed ramming situation. I think shooting her in the head was way too much. Well, I get it. I appreciate that. Does it matter how slowly you're run over? This wasn't a golf cart. This was an SUV. I just, again, if you're run over, you can be dragged. If you're run over, even at a mile per hour, you get run over the right way, it'll kill you. There's no one volunteering today to go outside and laying down in front of a moving SUV and get run over. Nobody's going to volunteer to do that. Again, what about the fact that maybe she should not have driven into him? He's got to live with this for the rest of his life, that now he's being doxxed and his family is going to be threatened. He's got to live with that for the rest of his life. And he's got to live with, at the end of the day, he didn't want to shoot her. He wasn't there that day to shoot somebody. She's the one who made the decision to drive into him. Again, you try to do that to any police officer in America, and it's probably not going to end well for you. She made the ultimate decision to drive into a police officer. I get that, it may not look good, and that you can say it never should have happened, but again, to me, I think it was justifiable. Jill in Lubbock, my belief, what got us to this point is Democrats have gone so far left that anything that protects the United States citizens needs to be removed. Everything the Democrats do is keep American citizens in harm's way. Let's see. We've got Ben Runkle. How about that? Ben Runkle. Wait, it's been a while since we've heard from Ben. Dear Chad, I apologize for not contacting you in a while. Cotton doesn't come out of the ground on its own. Cattle don't feed themselves, and America needs someone to pay the taxes. Here's our TED Talk for today. If you're at a militant protest against law enforcement and don't want to die, do these simple things. Comply with all LEO commands. Don't use anything in a manner that could cause harm to LEO or other protesters. Remember that the man with the gun gets to go home first. Any idiot can follow these simple rules. If you can't, it's on you. You die first. Get it? Even folks in post are smart enough to do these simple things. Teach your kids these simple rules as well. Sincerely, Ben Runkle from Bovina. Always good to hear from Ben Runkle. Mark in California, shooting out the tires will not stop a vehicle. with forward momentum. Mitchell and Abilene. Chad, you're absolutely right. The likelihood of an unpredictable ricochet from shooting at a tire, especially a moving tire, is high. The tire thickness is not consistent or constant over the whole tire. The wheels are curved. There's no way to determine what angle the bullet may strike metal. You have no idea where that bullet will end up. It could even come back right at you. I've seen that before in a YouTube video where they've shot at tires. And what if you have the run flat tires? You know, it hits, it can bounce off. Also, putting a bullet on a tire won't instantly stop the vehicle. That's very accurate. They got rims. Let's see. All this crap about shooting is just evidence that a lot of folks don't know anything except they see on TV. It was a good shot, full stop. 806-680-2790. Again, there will probably be an investigation, as there almost always is when it comes to officer-involved shootings. I look at this, and I don't take this opinion just because I'm pro law enforcement. There have been plenty of times where I've disagreed with law enforcement or think that, hey, that may have gone too far. I look at this as just, and again, I'm not a lawyer, but I look at it and go, was it justifiable? And to me, the answer is yes. Again, this is someone who they put their vehicle into drive and hit the gas. Doesn't matter if you're going 1 mile an hour, 10 miles an hour, 20 miles an hour. Doesn't matter. You are driving a weapon. A vehicle is a weapon. It can be used. It is a tool. It has been used as a weapon by terrorists. It has been used as a weapon by those who want to commit evil acts. And I don't know if she really meant to do it. I don't know. I can't get into her mind. She may have just made a bad split decision to where she wanted to get out of that situation and she should have just stayed where she was. I don't know. But I can tell you, if a police officer is in front of my vehicle, I ain't driving forward into him. That's not going to happen. I'm not going to try to get out of a situation by driving into someone who may be right in front of my vehicle. Not going to happen. More text coming in. Let's see. Chad, if the Minnesota protesters are truly protesters, they would all agree that Christopher Columbus was just a tourist. So that from Eric, another texter. This is Zach from Lubbock, FAFO, and she did. You know, again, I think it can. I think both can be true. I think both can. You know, both things can be true. That the officer was well within his rights, but he probably hates what happened. And, you know, do I consider her a terrorist? No. I think she was just stupid. I think she was just stupid. She made a bad, really, really bad decision. And guess what? My parents always taught me, don't put yourself in a position to make bad decisions. Don't put yourself, just don't be in that situation. Don't, if you, one way not to make a bad decision, don't put yourself in that situation. Remove yourself from that situation. When we come back, your phone calls, your text, and much more. Here on the Chad Hasty Show.
Call in to the Chad Hasty Show at 1-800-687-0790. The Chad Hasty Show, broadcasting on the Texas Town Square Media Network.
You've got a life to live, and you don't want to miss out on any of it. That's why the first thing you do when you get in a car is buckle your seatbelt. Whether you're a driver or a passenger, not wearing your seatbelt could get you a ticket, a fine, or worse. Nobody wants that. So remember, if you love it, click it. Brought to you by the Texas Department of Transportation.
Hi, Angie. This is your phone here in the cup holder. Pick me up.
No, I'm driving.
Oh, look, a text from Mr. Dreamy.
Hush, driving here.
I'm getting an email. Gwen is giving away free bunnies.
No, you are so pushy.
I know. I need therapy. Let's search it now.
Phone, quiet.
Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Talk, text, crash. A message from TxDOT.
TSN headlines, more revealing testimony today in court from Robb Elementary School teachers that were in classrooms the day of the deadliest school shooting in Texas history. Texas CISD police officer Adrian Gonzalez accused of criminal negligence for his slow response. ICE is in the spotlight following the killing of a woman in Minneapolis. An acting director of the ICE field office in Dallas, Robert Cerna, tells CBS that ICE officers wear masks for their own protection. And several groups in our state organizing protests after an ICE agent shot and killed a woman in Minneapolis. There's protest outside the Dallas ICE facility north of Austin, a rally in Houston and Dallas, protesters gathering outside City Hall. That event being organized by a group called the National Alliance Against Racist and Political Repression. Dallas police say they're very aware of the event. Crews in Amarillo brining the roads ahead of snowfall anticipated for tonight into early tomorrow morning. With your Texas News headlines, I'm Barbara Schwartz.
How about a simple New Year's resolution? One where you're guaranteed to succeed. Reverse the clock on hair loss with Advanced Hair's simple one-day treatment. You will feel more confident and more youthful when you witness your own natural hair growing into those places where it's been balding or thinning for years. From Advanced Hair's breakthrough technology to their highly experienced team, there is no one I trust more in hair restoration. Their simple FUE treatment begins to regrow your own natural hair the very next day. And your new hair is backed by the Advanced Hair Guarantee. Simply put, Advanced Hair's exceptional standard of care makes your comfort and your results their top priority. Did I mention the results can last a lifetime? Celebrate this new year with a fuller head of hair and get a free consultation, $250 off, and 250 free hair grafts. Call 469-599-HAIR. That's 469-599-HAIR. Or become inspired with the before and after pictures at advancedhair.com.
Hi, this is Gordon Deal. Join me weekdays for This Morning, America's First News, as we go beyond the headlines and above the chatter with your first look at breaking news, money, Washington politics, technology, entertainment, entrepreneurship, and sports. We explain why stories matter. That's why we are referred to as the most important and relevant radio program. Join us weekdays for This Morning, America's First News.
Weekday mornings at 5 on KFYO.
Tired of hearing sugar-coated views on the news of the day? Well, I hold nothing back. Join me, Mark Levin, for The Mark Levin Show, weeknights from 7 to 10 on the news and talk of West Texas, News Talk 95.1, 790, KFYO, and the KFYO app.
Eat, drink, smoke with Tony Katz. We're in the cigar buying business. Yes, and I think we should continue to be in the cigar buying business. That's not going to stop me from putting out a cigar. I'm just talking about it as a site, as like a. I don't think I'm in the cigar selling business. Unless that site, I got a great name for it, eBay. You're an idiot. Eat, drink, smoke with Tony Katz, Saturday evenings at 5 on KFYO.
Empowering West Texas with news that matters. News Talk 95.1 FM, 790 AM, KFYO.
Don't forget about Chad. Find Chad on social media at Chad Hasty Radio on X and Instagram. It's the Chad Hasty Show.
All right, welcome back to the Chad Hasty Show. Hopefully you're having a wonderful Thursday evening out there. Tomorrow, an open line Friday. Don't want to forget about that. Of course, we'll be getting into some of the latest political news of the day. I'm sure there'll be stories out of Minneapolis, throughout Minnesota to talk about with this shooting that occurred yesterday. We'll talk about that, get you updated on and all the fallout that we've seen from the radical news media, the radical left out there who want to treat this as though the folks over at ICE are just going to open up fire on U.S. citizens and that ICE is responsible for what happened here. We talked about this earlier, that there's a story, circulating that shows that the officer was not in the line of the vehicle. Then how did he get hit by it? If the officer wasn't in front of the vehicle, how did he get hit by the vehicle? That's what I would like to know. It's very, very strange how apparently the guy wasn't, the officer wasn't in front of the vehicle. He wasn't in the line of getting hurt, but he still got hit by the vehicle. That's something. So we've got that to talk about, the continued fallout, obviously, from this, as protest will probably continue, because you have those in the news media and those who are elected officials who want this to be a flashpoint. They want this to be a time where chaos prevails, because now no one. Have you noticed? Nobody's talking about any of the. No one's talking about Venezuela right now. Nobody's talking about the success of the U.S. military. Nobody is talking about the daycares, the Somali daycares, and the fraud that was going on. If you're Tim Walz, I guess you're probably just disappointed that the shooting didn't occur earlier, so that way you wouldn't have to drop out of the governor's race. Tim Walz has already dropped out, so it's for him, he can't use this to save his political career. But this idea that ICE is evil, that police are evil because of this shooting. We talked earlier about J.D. Vance and J.D. Vance's strong reactions that he had today, and chastising the news media. Not everybody in the news media, but many on the left news media. And I thought J.D. Vance did very well, and I thought it was a good moment for J.D. Vance and a common sense moment, to be honest with you. So we've got that we'll get to tomorrow. We've also got other news that we'll be getting into, other headlines as well, stuff that we've collected throughout the week, like some of these stories dealing with the cost of youth sports in America and how much now it costs to participate in youth sports. We'll be talking about, some of you out there are already like, oh yeah. Yeah, it's an arm and a leg. It's ridiculous. We'll talk about that tomorrow. We've also got some other just interesting news stories that we just didn't have time to get to throughout the week. On your Fridays, we like to mix in the world of politics, but we also like to mix in a little bit of fun. A little bit of fun as you head into your weekend. So we've got all of that going on. Your phone calls, your text, all happening on the Friday edition of the program. And by the way, we're going to have some more guests next week on the show. Next week on the show, we'll have some more great guests, including on Monday, our good friend Brad Johnson will join in with us. And then on Tuesday's program, Nate Sheets scheduled to join us at 5:35 as he talks about his campaign for Texas Ag Commissioner. And then next Wednesday at 5:35, Lubbock County Judge Curtis Parrish will be in studio. So looking forward to that conversation next Wednesday. Put that on your calendars. You won't want to miss out on that. So we've got all of that going on. Of course, your phone calls, your text messages as well. Wesley Hunt in the news today. The Hill, and again, any Republican now that is coming out in favor of law enforcement is being targeted by the news media. GOP rep, obey federal officials and you get to keep your life. So they're trying to make Wesley Hunt here say that if you don't listen to federal officials, you're going to get shot to death. Wesley Hunt Wednesday said if Americans obey orders from federal officials, you get to keep your life, hours after an immigration and customs enforcement officer shot and killed a Minnesota woman. The bottom line is this: when a federal officer gives you instructions, you abide by them and you get to keep your life, Hunt said on Newsmax. It's clear that she tried to use her vehicle as a weapon, mow over an ICE agent. Now she's dead. The Texas Republican continued. Her death is tragic, but at the end of the day, it was completely avoidable if she would have simply followed the commands of ICE agents. Yes, that is absolutely true. And now they're trying to spin this, and they're trying to take what Wesley Hunt said and go, well, if you don't listen to federal officials, you don't listen to ICE, you might just end up dead. No. If you're in a vehicle and an officer comes up to you and says, get out of your vehicle, you don't then put your vehicle in drive and move forward towards an officer. You don't do that. That's a very good way of getting shot, is if you do that. I mean, can we not just go back to common sense? You want to protest ICE, that's fine. Go ahead, protest ICE, protest law enforcement, protest whatever you want to. But can we not get a little bit of common sense here and go, maybe you shouldn't put your vehicle in drive and drive into a police officer, maybe. Maybe you shouldn't do that. Maybe if you're a mother of 3 or however many, maybe it's best just to protest from the sidelines. Put your family first and go, you know what? I'm going to protest. I'm going to yell, scream, holler, but I'm going to do so from the safety of the sidewalk. Whatever happened to that? Why are we blocking roadways? Why are we blocking roadways and acting as though we've got to get out there and mix it up with law enforcement officials? When did that become okay? Now, I'm not saying you're going to be shot or you should be shot if you mix it up with law enforcement or if you get into their faces or anything like that. But if an officer feels as though his life is at risk, and let me put it this way. If you were on that street and you were standing in front of a vehicle that was coming right at you, would you fear for your life? And if the answer is yes, then guess what? The officer had every right to do what he did. We may not like it. We may say, well, you should have dove out of the way. You should have done this. You should have done that. And maybe the officer should have. And maybe the officer wishes he would have. But she is the one who decided to put her vehicle in drive and gun it towards a police officer. She didn't say, okay, I'm leaving. Can I just leave? Can I just walk away? No, she didn't do that. She traveled there to cause a disruption, which she did. And she lost her life because of a bad decision. I even saw this, that maybe the officer looks back on it and goes, man, that was a bad decision for me. Maybe I should have just dove out of the way. Maybe I should have just moved out of the way. He's got to deal with this. He's got to deal with killing somebody when he didn't want to. All he wanted to do was do his job at the end of the day, and he wasn't allowed to. Again, you can protest Trump all you want. You can protest ICE all you want. You can protest any of these things all you want to. Go ahead and do it. Protest until your heart is content. But stop being stupid and stop putting your lives at risk just to protest law enforcement. You're not going to do it. You're not changing anything. And if you're on the left, you're one of these lawmakers on the left. You're one of these media folks on the left. Stop encouraging people to do this. Stop encouraging people to think that ICE is evil and that law enforcement is evil and that people need to drive their vehicles into law enforcement and try to stop them. It's irresponsible, and it's very dangerous. A very dangerous game that you're playing. Text in 806-680-2790. We'll be right back on the Chad Hasty Show to wrap things up.
The Titan of Texas Talk Radio. The Chad Hasty Show.
Talking with newsmakers and about the issues that matter to you. The Chad Hasty Show, weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m. Chad's show is also digital with the Chad Hasty Show podcast. The Chad Hasty Show podcast can be downloaded on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, and the Radio On Demand page on KFYO.com. The Chad Hasty Show, all across Texas during your drive home, weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m.
When you see a car that's been in a bad crash, it's no accident. When it backs traffic up for miles, no accident. And if there's a fatality involved, somebody died. That's no accident either. A lot of the time, it was speeding. And it's no accident that speeding is a factor in more than 150,000 crashes every year in Texas, many of them fatal. So slow down, be safe, drive smart. A message from TxDOT.
Well. Has anybody told you about Coast to Coast AM tonight?
Coast to Coast is one of those programs that deals with strange mysteries. We'll look at Bigfoot. We'll look at UFOs. We'll look at real science. And we'll also look at conspiracies and what it all means to you, the listeners of Coast to Coast AM.
It's the best in overnight talk radio. Coast to Coast AM.
Coast to Coast AM with George Norrie. Tonight at midnight on KFYO.
Add the KFYO text line to your contacts and voice your opinion during our local shows. 806-680-2790. That's 806-680-2790. News Talk 95.1 and 790. And on the KFYO app.
Certain times we all have or discover certain foods that may bother our stomach, our digestive system. Or sometimes you eat something, you feel fine at first and bloat it up an hour later, whatever. I hate that feeling. Nobody likes to be bloated. And I want to tell you about this great company because I'm into health, wellness, fitness, nutrition that I found. It's called Viome. What Viome does is it takes guesswork out of eating healthy with a simple at-home microbiome test, providing you with comprehensive full body insights, personalized food recommendations, and even supplements made for you. So what I want you to do is just go to Viome, VIOME.com/Hannity today. And you know what? Whatever you can do to increase your longevity, your health, your wellness, your fitness, your nutrition, you know what? It's just smart to do it. And that's why we're, fully on board with this. And I think you're going to love it as well.
Back on the Chad Hasty Show. Thank you very much for tuning in on this Thursday evening, final segment of the program as we begin to wrap things up. Don't forget an Open Line Friday tomorrow. Hey, if you missed any of our interviews, any of our great segments today, go back and listen on the podcast, the Chad Hasty Show podcast, available right after the show ends. You can go through and listen today and get those podcasts on Spotify, also on Apple Podcast. Really, any of the big podcast platforms that are out there, you'll be able to download the show and take it anywhere you go. Pass it on to neighbors and friends and enjoy. Story out of the Panhandle, Texas Tribune with this version of it. Panhandle History Museum scrambling to protect 2 million artifacts as it fights permanent closure. The Panhandle Plains Historical Museum has long stood as a landmark in the small town of Canyon. The museum, nearly as old as the city itself, home to the largest collection of historic materials in Texas. Did you know that? It's now at risk of closing its doors for good, putting the future of more than 2 million historical artifacts in jeopardy. Last month, West Texas A&M University, which owns the museum building, informed the Panhandle Plains Historical Society the university could no longer provide long-term funding to maintain the building. University President Walter Wendler later said the school formally asked the society to develop a plan to relocate its vast collection, blaming a decades of mounting operational cost, a decline in state funding, and a laundry list of fire code violations found by the Texas State Fire Marshal. With the museum closed since March for safety reasons, Wendler requested a written plan from the society by February 1st to outline how artifacts will be transferred into a new location. The news devastated the Panhandle region. Social media quickly flooded with people recalling visits to the museum with family or part of a school group. Others questioned whether they were told the real reasons for closing an important piece of Panhandle history. All came to a head Tuesday in the city of Canyon during the Canyon Commission meeting. Residents filled the room with many holding signs that said, "Save our museum." Some people left voluntarily so outgoing State Rep John Smithy and his team could enter the room without causing a fire code violation. City officials, Wendler and Smithy, spoke about how to resolve the issue between the university and Historical Society. Quote, "I wouldn't say this marriage is over, but it has been somewhat on the rocks lately," Smithy said. We got to get the commitment on both sides to make this happen. It breaks my heart, everybody else's heart, to drive by there and see a sign out in front of the door. During the meeting, the Canyon Mayor, Gary Hinders, emphasized that he wants to keep the museum in the city for the university and Historical Society to work it out together. Hinders said the museum is a major driver of tourism and revenue for the city of just over 15,000 people. While the city does not have a formal partnership with either the museum or society, Canyon offers local tax funds to support it, and primarily through advertising. The museum also received funding through the state legislature, but Wendler said that has declined by 65% since 1984. And you got to wonder, okay, well, lawmakers, where were you? Let me tell you something. I think this is just, we're funding Hollywood, but we're not funding our own history. We'll fund Hollywood. We'll send Hollywood millions and millions of dollars. We'll send them as much money as Hollywood wants to. But when it comes to funding our own history in Texas, we're gonna make it decline by 65%. We're gonna get rid of that. What's more important? I'm sorry, but I think making sure that we have our own history and that we are funding a museum for our history, I think that's a little bit more important than handing it over to liberal Hollywood and having them come in when they don't need our tax money and using it for TV shows and movies and films that really don't show us in the best light. Let's be honest. City officials have discussed a number of possible solutions for exploring state, federal, and private funding to designating the museum as a convention or visitor center to use more local tax money, which would require a public election. Quote, "We've come to a dead end with the A&M system and funding there. I think there's been nothing forthcoming there," Hinders said. But bottom line is, I think to get there, it's going to take both what we can get from some of those state funds and what we can get. It's also going to take private money. Regardless of which avenue the city takes, the museum is going to have a hefty price tag. Smithy estimates could cost between $20 and $40 million to reopen the museum where it is now, and $250 million to fund a new building. Smithy said the higher amount was a non-starter for the legislature, adding that Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick told him they didn't think they could justify spending that much money, even if the Alamo in San Antonio was falling down. No, but you gave millions of dollars to Hollywood. You gave millions and millions of dollars to Hollywood, but you can't justify. Let me tell you something. If the Alamo was falling down in San Antonio, they would spend that money. Here's the fact. It's a lot of state lawmakers just don't give a damn about the Panhandle. They don't give a damn about West Texas. And that's why we need strong lawmakers in that area to stand up and fight for that area, to fight for West Texas, and to fight for our history here, not just to, go through and rubber stamp whatever Dan Patrick wants to when it comes to Hollywood. We're going to get into this a little bit more on the show tomorrow because this kind of stuff is just...
The Chad Hasty Show, a presentation of Texas Town Square Media Network. The views and opinions expressed during the Chad Hasty Show are not necessarily the views of this station's staff, management, advertisers, or Town Square Media.